Good. Hey, Vincent, how are you?
Excellent. So tell me, what's your program today? You invited me to this panel, so tell me a little bit about the program today.
We were asked by organizers of the Palm Beach International Boat Show to shed some light on social media, digital marketing, and pretty much where does yachting stand on these topics, how we can help them and give them some insights because we've been around the block more than once, some common mistakes and other things for people that want to jump in.
Excellent. So would you like to share? We prepared a few slides for you guys. Would you like to share it? I'm just looking if we have any people coming in. Look like we have some people that starts to like. Excellent. So if you would like to share the slides, that'd be great. And we can get started. So Andrea, you are in New York, I'm in Vancouver, and we are live for the Palm Beach virtual show. And actually, Andrea, we met at the Palm Beach show, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Last year we met at the Palm Beach International Boat Show at one of the happy hours of Great Yachting Association, which is young professionals in yachting. So that was pretty cool to finally get to meet in person. As Vincent says, he does live a little far away from me. Well, maybe not that far from other people because he's in Vancouver.
Yes.
So yeah.
Excellent. So welcome everybody. Today we wanted to talk about, have a little time with you guys talking about the impact of social media in the yachting industry. And we have a social media expert, Andrea Yacht Dames, that is with us. So I want to tell you a little story about Andrea. Last time I went to the boat show with Andrea, I think it was a Miami boat show. And every time I was meeting the biggest social media influencer in the boating industry, such as David Seal, the yacht guy, or Jared Watney, or the big social media in the yachting industry, Andrea was always super friend with them. And so when the big influencer in the boating industry, they need an advice on social media, they are calling Andrea. That's why I'm so excited that you are here, Andrea, today to do this boat show. So you and I prepare some slides together, and we're going to share with you guys over the next few minutes our thoughts and our feedback on what we think is going on in social media in the boating industry right now and the impact that it's having on the boating industry. And so I'm very excited. Are you ready, Andrea?
Yeah, we're ready. Again, thank you so much, you guys, at the Palm Beach International Boat Show and Bianca for going back and forth with us to make this happen.
Excellent. Perfect. So the first thing we wanted to share is kind of like the feeling we had this year in boat sales. It has been literally crazy. In the last few months in boat sales, we all have experienced that COVID-19 surprise that nobody expected. And also the beginning of the year was great. We had a great Miami boat show. Right after that, it was really bad. Pretty much everything stopped. But we had a nice rebound. We have a very nice month of May. And now, again, with the riot, we keep still hearing that, it's starting to slow down. So it has been kind of like a challenging times for this year and very uncertain times. And one thing is for sure is times are changing, and we need in the industry, and the clients also in the industry need to adapt. So one of the things we were discussing last time with Andrea was about the post-coronavirus era, which is the fact that just remember after 9/11, things in airport, for instance, were completely different. After 9/11, you were going to an airport, it was completely different experience, and it never went back to the way it was before. And just like that is going to be the same for the post-coronavirus era. So people are going to change the way they buy, people are going to change their priority, change the way they consume, they meet and do business. And businesses, boating industry, professionals and businesses that are not adapting are simply going to be left behind. And one of the best way of adaptation, for instance, is the Palm Beach Boat Show that decided, because of the cancellation of the real boat show, to switch and to go for a virtual boat show. So what have been your experience, Andrea, in terms of adaptation? What have you seen in terms of adaptation in our industry? Can you give us maybe some example of people that have been adapting very well and pivoting well into the climate?
So we've seen a great surge of people that were thinking about getting not only on social media networks, but also producing from videos and showing their behind the scenes, showing who is actually working with their staffs. So they've been using these platforms to create a lot of familiarity with them. So the moment you would be back at the show, you would already feel connected to their brand. So a lot of brands have been pushing through digital platforms how to actually stay in front of your eyes. And I've seen this a lot with people doing weekly webinars. We've seen this great success from the Super Yacht Times. Almost everybody that I knew in yachting was watching those. Then Denison like broke the frontiers with the virtual boat shows and so on and so on. So you've seen this from big scales or big names out there to big companies doing them in-house for their brokers, for their loyal customers. Keeson the other day did even a happy hour. So it's a great day to find entertainment because one of the reasons we are at shows is to connect, touch base, and actually we see friends once a year or maybe twice. So we really miss this connectivity that we have with our community in yachting. And like I was saying, Keeson brought a bartender, showed us something, and
Wow.
it was a great way. There was tons of influencers, tons of great people in the industry, and not only were we entertained, we also learned about their brand. What were they doing next? So it was a great way to use it. It wasn't a press release, but it was a great way for us to know what else were they doing, how else could we get involved with this brand. So for me,
Yes.
those are some great examples of people they've been adapting.
Excellent. And I know you have been doing a terrific job to follow, you know, the boating industry and everything that has been happening. You were like, I think you were 3 or 4 times on the Denison Virtual Boat Show, and you've been invited on many other virtual events. So you have been doing a fantastic job following. So I have a quick question for you, Andrea. Have you been noticing that at the beginning, those people starting those events were kind of like they didn't really know what they were doing, but have you been noticing it progress in terms of the ways they are evolving with social media and with the ways they are using digital platform today to promote their business? We literally jump 5 years ahead in the future, and I really like it, and I've been repeating it like pretty much every day since you told that to me. But what I wanted to ask you is, you have been doing a phenomenal job, and you have been invited to so many virtual events. And so you've been noticing the progress of those companies that probably started at the beginning. They didn't know what was a virtual event, or they didn't know what they were doing, but they've been progressing. Have you noticed like uh, progress in terms of the way companies are more comfortable now online and yeah?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people that never thought they would be comfortable in front of the camera, diving in. And you were part of this great virtual boat show where you were saying this person is not the most tech savvy or the one that you would expect things coming, being produced an event like of this
Yes,
nature.
yes.
And they were able to do a phenomenal turnaround with not only the graphics, the platforms, and all the technology. So they were able to out of the blue get a team in place that they didn't usually have to be in front of everybody. So I think that's the biggest concern that we've had, that the in-person shows have not been available to us.
Yes.
So it's important for us to find another way. So that would be one of my great examples of someone that you wouldn't expect to be doing it and actually just pulled it off. So
I
let's
see.
dive in into some tips we can give them.
So I wanted to talk quickly also about the fourth industrial revolution. I think this is not just a health crisis, that what happened over the last few months is definitely a change in the way people are working. And we see so many people working from home. Now, if you look at if you look in the history book, every time you had an industrial revolution, it can be the steam engine or the age of science and mass production, or just the rise of technology and services. There is always this mass migration of people. And what we've seen over the last few months is a mass migration of people going from their job to their homes. And unfortunately, a lot of them are not going back to their job because a lot of jobs, unfortunately, have been lost. But we are seeing also a lot of people adapting and now starting to work from home. We've seen big company like Twitter, Salesforce are telling people today, oh, it's okay, now you can work from home for the rest of the year. So there is definitely a change into the way our people are doing business today. And opportunities are are rising because of this change in environment. And there are different things you can do. You can just expect things to come back to normal, or you can just hope for, or you can just adapt and, tap into this new way of doing business. And that's exactly what Andrea are going to do today. We're going to talk to you guys about why there is this big change of technology suddenly, and what can we do in the boating industry. I came across this the other day with my team who led the digital transformation of your company, A, CEO, B, CTO, C, COVID-19. And we've seen that jump, and I come back to the quote from Andrea, over the last 2 months, we've seen a 5-year jump in the future in technology. So that's why we're very excited. So Andrea, why don't we introduce ourselves? Because maybe we can take a minute each and introduce ourselves, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into social media. So maybe you want to get started. I have a nice slide from you, so go ahead if you want to take a minute.
Everybody, I'm Andrea Tagliaferro. I've been working in the yachting industry since 2014 now. I went from being someone that would introduce you to a show at a boat show, not knowing really anything aside from what a sender really meant, to being part of a construction team in Florida at the director's shipyard. We built a yacht. I was part of the design team. My background is architecture and interior design. So that's how I was able to get into that side of yachting, which is very fun for me, construction. From there, I taught myself social media, digital marketing, because it was just something I really thought it was interesting, that the only way to share stories right now was through social media platforms. So I was able to understand this new way of thinking, a new way of sharing, and then went back to yachting, and I thought, why don't we start doing this with the yachting industry? And there, what you see in front of me, presenting in my alma mater in the design building about the yachting industry. And I created this platform called Yachting to promote women in yachting, because I was one of those women that didn't see a lot of people that she could connect with, or I didn't see other people like me, women leaders, until I found this association and I started learning that there were so many of us. I just didn't know of them because there wasn't really a way to really get all the information out there in one-stop shop. So that's why the Yachting was born.
Excellent. Well, it has been a lot of fun to watch you grow in this industry, Andrea, and I'm sure you'll go forward. So I'm always happy to work with you. So I guess it's my turn. My name is Vincent Finetti. I've been involved in the boating industry now professionally for the last 12 years. When I started as a boat broker here in Vancouver, after 2 years in boat brokerage, I started a marketing company called Prestige Vision with my business partner Michael, and we have been traveling the world for the last 12 years. We've worked with over 300 shipyards, and this is really my passion. Is all I do is travel around the world, from boat show to boat show, dealer meeting to dealer meeting, from boat brokerage house to boat brokerage house. And every morning when I wake up in the morning, the only thing I think is, what can I do to help sales professionals sell more boats? And 5 years ago, I started Yacht Sales Academy. Since I started Yacht Sales Academy, we've trained over 5,000 boat sales professionals worldwide. I've had over 800 students enrolled into our program. And I'm also a partner in a boat brokerage firm called Breeze Yachting.Swiss. It's in Switzerland with my business partner Cornelius. And so it's a lot of fun to be involved in marketing, to be involved in sales training, and to be involved in brokerage. And I absolutely love my job, and I'm so grateful to be here today for this presentation. So let's dive in. Let's dive in now that we did a quick intro and talk about boat show and social media. So I want to ask you a quick question first. Do you know where is the biggest boat show in the world? Do you know the biggest boat show in the world? Drum roll. When we ask the question, a lot of people say it's Fort Lauderdale, it's Miami, it's Düsseldorf. And the response was actually surprise you. The biggest boat show in the world is social media. Why, Andrea, social media is the biggest boat show in the world? Maybe you'll let us know.
Well, these are free platforms. We now have, everybody has the ability to share their social media, as we all have smartphones at this day and age. So the ability to create something that's live, as what you're watching right now, for zero cost is just a no-brainer for each brand out there. We have a very different way of promoting ourselves, from private channels to public ones. They will get you a lot of traction and a lot of views. And not only that, we just now have multiple social media platforms out there to reach the audience that you actually want to reach. So yeah, the biggest boat show in the world.
So millions of people are there. It's open 24/7. It's free to attend. And it's a wonderful opportunity. That's why we're very excited today to be in this presentation. So Facebook, Google, Instagram, and YouTube are the new MLS, or the new multiple listing site. It used to be you used to get the majority of your leads from Yachting or Craigslist or multiple listing site. And today, when you ask Boat Sales Professional, where are you getting your leads from? Majority of them are responding, we are getting leads from Facebook, Google, Instagram, YouTube. So social media is a big driver when it comes to sales performance, when it comes to performance in the boating industry. Now, also people are not going on social media to buy boats, of course, but people who buy boats are on social media. And that's why it's very important to be involved. And that's why it's very important to understand the platform, to trying to improve your presence in the platform, and to follow people like Andrea that know the social media very well and can help you become better in your social media presence. Now, when it comes to the progress of social media over the last 3 months, it has just been phenomenal. And why, Andrea, don't you tell us a little bit about this chart that you shared with me a few weeks ago?
So when we were hit with COVID-19, or when I guess it was hit globally, because the majority of when we started, it was Asia, then it was Europe, and then of course it went all the way to the American continent. All the websites that you see below, Facebook, Netflix, and YouTube, saw a huge spike viewership for obvious reasons. People were looking for other ways to entertain themselves, and they were finding themselves in front of their screen. We also saw a huge spike on the device you use to watch social media. And these are also spikes from people moving from their mobile devices to their desktops. So we were switched with, if you were producing some kind of video content for only a very small screen, now you had to take into account the interface, because have you ever been to a website, it looks very different on your desktop than on your mobile. So that's the spike you see right now. It has, of course, gone down as many of countries and cities have not released, but allowed some kind of like lockdown lift. But if you have been watching the news in the United States, this has not changed really for us, especially because now we're going into something else unprecedented, like COVID-19, which is the riots. So our spikes keep going up. We don't know when the viewership in digital marketing will ever go down, or as Vincent said before, this will just be our new normal. We had a huge conference today at my office, how this will always be a part of us. Our companies will now forever have company meetings on Zoom, and we'll have some in-person events, but this is just the new normal. So that's what you're seeing in front of you.
Excellent. And, I remember I was telling you something. I told you, hey, before we had telephone booths, and then we went to mobile phone. And before we had the map, the map on paper, and then we went to GPS, or we had taxi, and then we went to Uber, but we didn't go back to those old methods. And so I told Andrea, I said, I think it's going to stick, and it's going to become the new normal. And she's told me something very, very interesting that I really like. And you told me, Andrea, it takes 21 days to build a habit. So can you elaborate on that, please?
So a lot of us, even the easiest way to people understand is when we're trying to pick up, like going back to the gym. It seems like some of us are always starting out on Monday, right? The issue is that after you get past that first week, 2 weeks, really it's studied that at the 21 to 8 minute mark, that's when you actually made it your habit, and you have now progressed into another part. So when we saw those spikes, it will level off, and we will continue with this new habit. That's what that really means. So what we try to do, or what you should actually try to do, is like you right now, and make your audience aware that you are being in digital. Like they can find you on social media, and you are consistent with 21 days, you will have been successful in telling your audience, this is where I am. You will continue to find me here. And if you need any answers, go here instead of going there. So you really want to train yourself, train the people you actually want to be in your audience to know where are you, what are you doing, and where do they find you.
Excellent. So yes, so in other words, human behavior has changed and is going to become the new normal. And we can see that already. We can see that, for instance, in China, in Wuhan, where they reopened the restaurant, but surprisingly, the people didn't go back to the restaurant because they developed those habits of eating from home. They developed those habits of, maybe taking out delivery food, and the growth in restaurant hasn't been the one that was expected originally. We have seen another major change in the way people doing business, and those are statistics that we had just accessed. I think I was looking at last week, and this is a U.S. e-commerce penetration in percentage of retail sales. And what we can see is that over the last 10 years, 10 to 15 years, it grew around 10%. And we've seen now a massive growth into just 2 months, with a retail sales percent of e-commerce being close to 30% of the retail sales. So it's phenomenal. And social media is a big part of it also, because that's just the way people learn about new things. That's just the way social proof is being seen. Hey, look, I just bought my thing here. People see it, they want to buy it, they go on Amazon and then buying it. So it's very important for companies and boating companies also to adapt. So it's time to face reality. And those stats that we're going to share with you were pre-COVID-19 stats already, and those one are from 2017. They are Forrester Research Survey. 93% of business to consumers prefer buying online instead of from a salesperson. And nearly 75% of B2B buyers says that buying from a website is more convenient. So, Andrea, why don't you tell us now about what's happening in the show environment? Because I think I love show. That's where we meet people in the industry. I think they have fantastic celebration in our industry, fantastic opportunities to meet people, to grow for the professional, for the clients, to see all the products. But what's your advice for the show organizer out there, based on what you shared with me the other day?
Well, there's a lot of advice. A lot of people get hung up on the fact that we can't share the environment that we would usually have when we are in person at one of the boat shows or one of our events, because we think of the scene, the lighting, everything else that comes in between. But we've seen a lot of creative ways for people to make an event their own and still promote not only their branding, give it a theme, get people excited for the events. So Vincent and I developed some, it was 20 plus ideas for people to integrate into their shows. And recently I did a interview with a Jeopardy theme. So that's pretty much what we're doing. We see a lot, especially because I'm part of a speaking bureau in New York. And we've seen the same thing happening at those very serious and upscale events, how they are not only breaking it apart with the type of content, they're also mixing it up, having just one host, having two co-hosts, having a panel kind of visual. Yes. So it's important. The biggest word I can tell you here is diversity. Structure your segments and your events to have very different kinds of topics, kinds of engagements, and kinds of sequence and interfaces, so people don't get bored. We are in front of our computers now over 8 hours in a day. So that's the biggest change I have seen. And it's important to always keep it fresh, even though it's great to have series of events. So people know that every week they found you right here. Same thing with social media posting, consistency. But every time they show up, you have to give them something different. So it's not a repeat, a replay.
And it's also to have hybrid events. So when you do a real event, you can do a live event at the same time. And the perfect example is a Coachella YouTube live stream from Beyonce. And you said, Andrea, that they had 41 million people in 232 countries watching the live stream, versus they had just maybe 100 or 200,000 people live. So you can see the impact when you combine both the real event plus the live stream event. So that's a great opportunity.
And whoever wasn't watching the Super Bowl at the stands,
yes,
or even on their TV, I personally was watching it through Twitter. The
Exactly.
amount of engagement, I felt I was going to have a heart attack because there was always a new reaction. Why did it? So it was just a whole other level of
Yes.
conversation that I've never experienced even live.
So the question you need to ask yourself in 2020 now in those days is, how can I demonstrate value digitally? And in everything you're doing for your business, always think, how can I demonstrate value digitally? If you doing a real boat show, how can I transfer this real boat show event digitally, right? Because we are literally living in a digital world now where the digital environment is almost as important and has even has a higher impact today, we can see in those numbers, as a real environment. So how can I demonstrate value digitally is a very important question to ask yourself. And it's also time to adapt, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to jump in the water and making mistakes. You know, this make us giggle. We saw that guy is going on Good Morning America in front of millions of people, and he didn't put his pants. So these things will happen, might happen to you, because you're going to have technical issues. Sometimes it's not going to work, but it always needs a little bit of adaptation. But just jump in, make the effort, and the reward is going to be zero for you. And it's going to impact all generation, whether we're talking young or even older crowd. Everybody is being impacted by this technology upgrade. If you look at it right now, Andrea, you sent that to me the other day. I think that was quite funny. It's like even Lego now, they are showing their kids an environment where they're doing work from home or teleconference, because this is just becoming the new normal. So why don't we start now and diving in social media, and why being on social media? I'll let you start, Andrea, go ahead.
So I think we covered a lot of the reasons why being on social media, but if for a little recap, it's a free platform. Other website you do have to pay a monthly fee for. It's accessible to anybody. The tools that you find on, for example, of someone that has an Instagram of 2 followers and 10,000 followers is pretty much the same. You do see some benefits after you reach a certain threshold, but right now you can just go ahead and post and utilize the reach that you can actually gain as opposed to anybody else. So the main thing is it's available to everybody, and it's free. And thirdly, that there's so many platforms now out there that you can really pinpoint which platform benefits you, your branding, and the audience you actually want to reach.
Excellent. So now, in your opinion, Andrea, what platform to invest for the yachting industry? What is the best platform in the yachting industry?
So let's go to the next one, and I'll tell you guys why. It really depends of what.
Which one?
No, keep going. So we always think of like the first thing is like, oh, let me pick the platform. What platform should there be on? Yes. But reality is, if we go to the next one, this is how you should actually start. You should start actually defining yourself some goals and objectives. What do you want to reach, and who do you want to reach, and stuff like that. But it's important to trace your goals to be very specific, be measurable, so you actually know if you achieve them or not, and be strategic. The objectives are just the steps that are going to guide you to make sure we get to that goal.
I see. Excellent.
So before we even pick out the platform, we have to ask ourselves why. Why are we here? What kind of audience do I want to reach? Why? And after that, we find out what is our business goal, because at the end of the day, this is all a business. Even if you actually want to be an influencer, why do you want to be an influencer? Who do you actually want to target? That really, it's like an onion peel. And then that will tell you how you're actually going to do it, and will give us a little bit of the steps and the characteristics, and those will describe what social media platform. And then lastly, what are you going to do? And that's the final journey. But you always start with the why. I'm not going to tell you, if someone comes up to me, I will ask them first, okay, what is your business? Who is your audience? Who do you reach? Are you a B2B company? Do you actually talk directly to the consumer? Who is your audience? Are you talking about you want to reach a charter company, but you want to target the new generation because those were the ones that are convinced their parents, as we're all doing social isolation, and they're the ones going to be your biggest salespeople are going to be the ones that are trapped inside with their parents saying, Dad, please, I saw a charter company doing this in the middle of the Maldives. So maybe those you are actually not even thinking about TikTok. Maybe that will be your entry point if that is your end goal. I'm not going to say that at the same to someone whose company, what they do is ship yachts or vessels from one part of the country to another one. They will be on another platform, let's say LinkedIn.
Yes.
Let's go to the next one.
Excellent. So this one was from Simon Sinek, correct?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I've seen the video. It's phenomenal. And I've seen him talk live. And he's a great speaker. He's such a great guy. So that's good.
Here we go back to what I just said before. You want your goals to be very specific. I get a lot of people that say, okay, what do you want to accomplish with Instagram? I want to be the biggest brokerage in the world or the biggest influencer in the world. And the first thing I asked them, I was like, you want to influence what? Like, what does that even mean? And a lot of people ask that. So be very specific. If I want to be the biggest brokerage, that's great. You want to be known for, is it super yachts? You want to be center console. You want to be the biggest brokerage that takes people from Miami to the Bahamas. So you really want to actually narrow down. This will help us with our actions. You want your goals to be measurable, because then how do you know if you achieve them? Are you talking about, I want to reach, I don't know, 100 charters by spring break? Are you talking about 20? So the moment we actually have those numbers, it will push us and it will surprise you if you have a target in mind going like, no, I only have one more week to finalize this goal. It really does help you to know exactly what it is that you want to obtain. B, is it attainable, your goal, or not? Like, if it's my first year in the company, launching my charter company, and I know I'm repeating, but I think it's easier for everybody here to relate with charter companies. Am I going to be the best company out there on the first year, or I'm going to be able to make it a two-part thing? In the first year, I'm going to hit a certain target in the second. So make sure you are very realistic, like it says there, realistic with what that goal really is. You don't want to fall short on your goal and then be demoralized, thinking I can't do this, I can't do it. It's so easy to go into that negative space and so hard to actually overcome it. Put a time requirement. If you want to be, let's say again, the best one out there, okay, that's great. You want to be there in 3 months, a month, a year, 2 years. So that's way you know when you've actually hit that mark. Because if you make it hypothetical, like someday I will do, then you'll start deviating from that goal into other sub goals, because that one seems like so far away, so out of reach. You have to actually make yourself accountable. Nobody else will do it for you. So creating times and deadlines is really good for you actually getting there. Next one.
Excellent. Great advice. So let's talk about the objective now.
So I think the majority are here for money, convert into sales, generate leads, grow community. So these are just here for you to understand, like, what objectives may I have? I'm sure these really apply to you guys. So just an example here.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the objective, you know, you have some guys that have 1 million followers, but they're not going to have any results. They're not going to have any sales or any real impact with the follower. And some people will have just, 500 followers, and they're going to have great sales and great impact and great results for their clients. So at the end of the day, always try to understand what is important to me in terms of objective and work for that. And that's why defining your goal is so important, because if you don't define your goal, you say, hey, I want to do social media so I can, be an influencer or famous. But if you have an audience and you're not really having impact for yourself or for them, what difference does that make, right? So try to always focus on your goals, and your goals can be selling some boats, it can be selling your product, promoting your event, or it can be generating some leads and growing a community or sharing a positive message to the community. And I think in those days, sharing a positive message and having an impact is very important. And social media, we can see it today with everything that is happening this year in 2020. Social media, there are a lot of bad things, but there are also a lot of great things. A lot of positive messages are shared with social media. A lot of hopes, a lot of positive energy sometimes shared through social media. So that can be a great vehicle for that. So let's talk about audience now, Andrea.
Yeah, and if you want to reaffirm why you should do social media, all the objectives that we talked about, you can actually track them. All the platforms for free already have a dashboard with full of analytics telling you how many people came, where they came from, who is actually the audience that's actually reacting to what you're saying. So you don't have to go to a third party or even hire another company, depending, of course, of the size of what you're trying to track. But you could start things on your own and understanding how it actually can create the revenue that you intend. So after we said all of this, it's so important. Who do you want to reach? Your audience. So let's go into that. After you fine tune, it's in marketing, this is so common that you define who your persona is. And when we say that, we don't say like everybody that likes the Caribbean. No, I will probably narrow down and be like, I want someone with this this personality, this is their behavior, their age bracket is from here to here, because they will be the ones that will have the money to invest in this. If I'm only talking about, or I'm talking not about buying, but renting or chartering, then I probably will focus on another segment of the community. So it's really important to know what your brand is also telling other people. Therefore, that's what they're reacting to. Are you talking about a brand that really wants is a European, an Italian, because the verbiage or vocabulary, your color, your style will attract that audience. So no, it's very important to have awareness so you can know who you're finding. After you find that, narrow down what that person really looks like, as specific as you can go, all the way to like, if he has a dog or he has a cat, like as most specific as you can be, then you will be able to narrow down keywords, hashtags, or I know this person so well, and I know that he will only vacation if it's in the Maldives and not in Bahamas. He's not going to go to Ibiza, he's going to go to the Eiffel Tower. So then you will really know where to find that audience. And then, of course, after you select, you just have to target them and attract them.
Excellent. So let's talk now about the different interface and the different platforms. So what can you share with us about your experience with a different platform?
So I'll tell you right now, before we dive into each one specifically, from what I hear from other people, revenue-wise and everything, the biggest platform for them is actually Instagram. And I'll tell you why. Instagram is a social media platform designed for visuals, to just share the picture. We have such a sexy product, which is the yacht. It's so easy to sell. A picture is worth 1,000 words, 1,000,000 words in this case. It is true for the product that we are selling. It's so easy to appreciate just with a picture. If that wasn't the case, you would go for one that would be more appreciated because of the text, the captions and stuff like that, and you would think of it Twitter. So we're just gonna cover here what are the benefits of each of these platforms, how the yachting industry has harnessed them and used them to create loyalty and spread the news of their brand. I'm actually going to give the floor here to Vincent on Facebook, so Facebook is great when you go and create loyal groups.
Yes.
Facebook has created this ability for you to create a group around that you can talk to on specific things, what are their habits, and you have created a subculture and a niche for them. And you don't see this in other platforms. So Vincent, can you tell us a little bit about your group?
Yeah, so Facebook, we were one of the first company, and I'm talking about 2011, 2012, to pass over 100,000 fans on Facebook. So I was one of the early adopters to try to really push Facebook. And Facebook has always been good in terms of sharing a message in the boating industry, because the reason we're going to Facebook is just to entertain ourselves. And just like Andrea said, Instagram is visual, but Facebook is about entertainment. And what is more entertaining than learning about a boat or learning about a charter or something? So Facebook is very powerful. But what I've noticed down the year is a progressive switch to Instagram. At the beginning, and I thought, oh, you know what, Facebook is strong, but Instagram is maybe for younger crowd. But what I've noticed is some older crowd are switching to Instagram. And we've sold, I remember 2 years ago, we sold a San Lorenzo 104, which was like a almost 4.5 million euro boat. A gentleman was from Brazil, and we got it from, he saw the advertising from Instagram. So Instagram is a very powerful platform today, as Andrea said, and this definitely I recommend the two, Facebook and Instagram. So if there were two platforms of choice for brokerage or boating industry, it will definitely be Facebook and Instagram, and that's why Andrea put them first here. Now, switching a little bit to the right, I see LinkedIn. I've seen also a grow in the LinkedIn platform. I'm one of the biggest user in LinkedIn in this industry. I think I have 7,000 followers now in the boating industry in LinkedIn. So I've been also an early adopter, very present on LinkedIn, and I've seen the growth of the platform, the growth of the interest for the boating industry on this LinkedIn platform. And today I see some phenomenal people in the boating industry that are doing some great job marketing on LinkedIn. And I'm seeing some broker or some journalists or some marketing people in our industries that are doing a phenomenal job in LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is trying to generate that growing interest. Also, it's more for B2B in the boating industry, but it's very popular.
So before we leave this
yes.
slide, exactly what Vincent said, these are the 3 platforms I would recommend. And
yes.
you would only select which of the platforms depending on who you're trying to sell to, who is the person you want to communicate. Because even when Vincent was saying LinkedIn is more B2B, this is true, but if that's the person you're going to target, that is definitely your platform. I've seen tons of growth on LinkedIn because my target is people that are within the yachting industry. I'm not trying to attract people to get to our industry. So when he was saying before, Facebook is great because you already created intimacy on it. We've been using Facebook since before all of these. From there, we share our birthdays, our accomplishments. We have a profile that shares a little bit more intimate details that you will see on Instagram and LinkedIn. So Facebook has for a long time been a lot more raw and been accepted of being more raw. I can definitely get to know a person from them posting from their dogs, what they did today. Every time people leave from, I'm taking this airport, they tag themselves on their geolocation there. You don't see these on Instagram. Then when you move to Instagram, it's a lot more curated because you see all the pictures in one grid. On Facebook, that's why when you see all the interfaces here. On the top, you see the desktop version. On the bottom, you see the mobile. On the Facebook, you have a feed, but there's so much information around it that if your picture doesn't match the post you did before, nobody would notice. On Instagram, you have a square next to a square. It's impossible for you not to think of composition. And if you're thinking of composition, then comes into your mind, filters. Did I post something that was a lot of people here? Is it only one person? Am I going minimalist? So this is really when graphic designers and other people that are very in tune with creative and visual design have an advantage because they understand what composition means with Instagram. When you go in on LinkedIn, the possibilities are endless when you want to reach companies. The other thing is on LinkedIn, not all the companies have adopted it, which is awesome. You know why? Because I can talk to the CEO of, for example, Abikin Rasmussen, that I don't know. He doesn't know me, but because I engaged on an article and other few people engaged on it, I will be able to talk with him personally because not a lot of people, especially in yachting, have gone and used this platform. So it's not saturated at all. So if you're thinking of that, yes, it's not been adopted. Yes, it's not been adopted. This is awesome for you. Being an early adopter, you just can't beat that. So
excellent.
Then we go back to Facebook.
Go back?
No, go to the next one. I was like, I did Facebook twice.
So next 3 platforms, we have Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Maybe I'll do YouTube because I'll start with YouTube and I'll let you finish with your magic with Twitter and TikTok. So again, early adopter on YouTube. I think we started, I remember in 2010 or 2011, we would literally do 1 video a day and we built a 1 million view channel within, I think, a year, but we were very consistent. And I think we grew it to 20,000 subscribers to around maybe 5 or 6 million views. And then we kind of stopped posting. And so the recommendation that I can give you on YouTube is a wonderful platform because if you compare to the other social media platform, when you post something, eventually it goes to the wall and it just gets lost. But YouTube is a search engine and it's owned by Google. So you get referencement on Google, but also every time someone is searching for one of your old video, they will eventually find it back. So very, very powerful, but it will require commitment from you. If you want to do YouTube seriously, you need to say, okay, I'm committed. I'm trying to do decent quality video, and I'm trying to post regularly. It can be every day, every week, or every 2 weeks, but you need to be regular, because even us, we had like a 6 million view channels, and then we kind of stopped doing it for a few months, and we post a few videos here and there, and we stopped doing it for a few weeks and post a video here and there, and we don't get the same good results as we used to have, because we have not been consistent. So the key for YouTube is a very powerful tool, but you have to be consistent. And it's great for the boating industry because there's a lot of people doing walkthrough, and it's a great platform to share the walkthrough. So yeah, that was for YouTube.
So yeah, like Vincent was saying, YouTube isn't only great because when you write on Google, I want to see the latest Monaco Yacht Show 2019. If someone named their yacht show, their video posted on YouTube that way, it will redirect them to your page. You're getting views for free there. You can also grab that link from YouTube and embed it on your website and on other pages. So you will continue to increase likes and views and subscribers. The only thing about YouTube that it's not as easy to jump on, like we said on Facebook and Instagram, it's that you have to know how to make videos. It's not that it's hard, but you do have to have some finesse and editing, knowing your topic. So it does require you to know a little bit more of media production. Twitter, yachting industry hasn't been that committed to adapting this platform, but it's huge when you're talking about talking on a second stream on live events. For example, the next Monaco Yacht Show or the next in-person show that we will have, I will be on that thing describing you everything that's on it, and you can easily see if you created a hashtag how it's trending for absolutely everybody. Again, I was on it when we were watching the Super Bowl. I know it's not yachting, but the moment something iconic happened there, it was on every page. It was beauty, sports, food. Someone took a moment that was iconic and moved it into all the pages, even in yachting. So you're talking about something that's creating a trend. Why are you not on it? You don't have to be posting. You can also just be listening. Listening is very important to understand what is happening next. What am I missing out of? For example, when Vincent was saying you have to be consistent, a lot of us, we create media and then we schedule it out. So we know that we don't not producing and sharing only this week, and then next week it's like mute, nothing is happening. But then you have to be very aware. Again, it's very hard to not talk about all the riots that were happening this weekend. So you have to be conscious. Oh my God, what I was posting this Tuesday, is it going to be insensitive? Is it not going to be on par? I only know this because I was listening to social media on Twitter and other platforms and be like, it's going to hurt me personally and my brand, because I didn't know that now that has a different effect on other people. And lastly, TikTok. A lot of us, and I still see, actually, I saw a post today about someone saying, oh my God, the worst thing that you can do is be on TikTok because it's only for Gen Z and all that stuff. You know what? Who do you think the car people, the car companies target? Mercedes-Benz, Bentley, all of them, the moment you were a kid, they were saying, oh, I've made it the moment I buy my Mercedes, the moment I can afford this. So why? Even, for example, I just want to say, it's not only Gen Z anymore, but if it was, don't you want that person to find you as the ultimate goal of yachting? I have made it when I buy something from Vincent. Yes. Why not? These are a tap market that nobody wants to pay attention to them. Why aren't you the one saying, well, they're going to pay attention to me? Well, actually, something else happened during COVID-19 that everybody was trapped inside with their families. You saw even grandpa making videos, dancing with their kids and their grandkids on this platform. So not only were they watching the videos, they created accounts and became video creators. So when the people that were early adopters there, now they're on everybody's view because they didn't listen to the naysayers saying, oh, this is only for, no, they saw the potential. They went on there, and now, not only that, they were able to tell people, yes, you found me on TikTok, by the way, I have YouTube, go to my other platform. So people that were not an audience that nobody was paying attention to, they grabbed them, moved them to someone else. Someone that's very famous, Kylie, she does dance videos. She had millions of followers on YouTube, and what did she do on TikTok? She moved it to Instagram. So like this, she had over 1 million followers.
That's what the yacht guy did, Alex, when he was very, very famous on Instagram. And I think his first YouTube video, he was able to get 1 million views because he transported his follower from one platform to another, and immediately he got that success. And if he didn't have nearly 1 million follower on Instagram, I doubt he would have had 1 million views on his first YouTube video. So that's a perfect example of what you're mentioning here, Andrea.
And someone in yachting that you know. I'm not talking about someone that's a barista that has nothing to do with our platform. No, this is someone in yachting that took the audience he had here and moved it over there and was able now to monetize on 2 different platforms.
Yes, excellent. Okay, let's continue. And I think we're going to finish with this, the top mistakes on social media. So one of the biggest mistakes you can make is just not to be there, to be afraid of, I have a saying, it's if you're uncomfortable improving yourself on social media, you're doing something wrong. It's only when you're going to be uncomfortable that you're going to grow, right? So if the fear of not doing that video, that's the biggest mistake, and not publishing it, that's the biggest mistake you can do. So that's what I wanted to share when it comes to the mistake, is just do it. Nobody's going to judge you. There are just millions and millions of video uploaded every day on social media. And if they don't like their video, they swipe down or, close, and don't worry about it, but just do it because it's worth it. It's a free platform. It's a free megaphone for you to communicate to an audience. So it's a wonderful tool and it's great for you to use it. So what are the main mistakes you've seen, Andrea?
So one of the main mistakes, I think no one can top the one that Vincent just said, being afraid and hesitating. I've actually done that with a couple of platforms and it took me months to actually get the nerve. So, and then of course, regret. Okay, other ones is be on all platforms. If I'm starting to right now, there's a lot of people saying, oh, but you can repost, be on everything. If you don't have a handle on one of the platforms, and now you know that each platform targets a different audience, they have a different interface. The pictures you may post here are horizontal, landscape, other ones will be vertical, because if not, the platform like Twitter will crop it. So maybe you're like only like this in your picture. So simple things like that. Don't try to be on all the platforms. If you're starting out, manage one, get a handle on one, and then find a software that allows you to repost and understand the platforms. Don't just, and the other one is like, don't try to just repost and not think of the dimensions. I see, so often that someone created a kick-ass video from YouTube and decided to repost it on Twitter and forgot that the landscape on Twitter is a lot more horizontal, and they ended up cutting themselves. So people don't understand why they actually have to click on them. If social media is a marathon, not a sprint. Even if I create this amazing best video in the world, then I attracted an audience, they're expecting more. So it's important for you to be consistent. If you are gonna create, for example, videos, you have to train your audience to know that if you come to my platform, you'll always see videos, and you'll see them once a week, twice a week, so they know what to expect, and you're telling them why are they coming back for more. So I think those would be our 4 ones. Be on the platforms. Don't try to take on more than you can chew and like understand them first. Think of the interface and the dimensions of them, and be consistent. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
And another thing that I would mention, and is based on what you just told us earlier, Andrea, is if you don't have any goal, just don't go out there and just waste your time. Try to be effective. We just have that much time of hours during the day, and trying to be effective when you go on social media, either provide value or share content, but try not to be the one that just go there and waste time. And there is a method that I really love. I learned one day from an entrepreneur. It's called the ROI method on social media. And R stands for relevant. Be relevant. If you decide you want to talk about yachting and your family and travel, don't start talking about other topics that are not related. Try to always talk about those topics you decided you want to focus on. The other thing is the O stands for omnipresent. Trying to be present in different platforms. Of course, follow the advice Andrea told you, master one platform first, but when you're comfortable with one platform, try to then share your message on different platforms. And finally, and we see that a lot in social media, it means intimate. Try to be intimate. You know, at the end of the day, we are going on social media. Social media, there is a word social. And social is about sharing something together. It's between you and I. When I'm doing a video, I'm not doing a video for everybody. I'm doing a video for you, the person that is watching, and try to be intimate. Try to make it like share things about yourself, not just photo or repost, like Andrea said. Try to share a little bit about your point of view, your life, your behind the scene, your experience. And that's what people crave for. You know, that's what are the things they want to learn from. So be relevant, be intimate, and be omnipresent. So I think I'm going to go now full screen. So that's how we end our presentation today. We want to thank you so much for watching this. Andrea, thank you so much for making this happen again. And yeah, I'll let you give the final words, but thanks everybody. It was a pleasure for me to spend this hour with you.
No, thanks, Vincent, for accepting. This was like out of the blue that we were asked to be on this. So thank you so much for the people organizing it, to have patience with us, to getting our act together. And Vincent for saying yes and just jumping on board with me to another adventure that was this social media. Like you saw before with Vincent showed this guy that had no pants on this broadcast. If you had seen the behind the scenes of what just happened today, it wasn't far from that.
But we have pens. I have pens. Personally, I do. I don't know you, but
no, I have pens too. I have pens.
Okay, good.
No, thank you guys so much. And I just wanted to say, if you need anything from us, please feel free from emailing us, DMing us, which is direct message on any of the social platforms that I'm on. If you can see right here, these are where you can find me. If not, you can find Vincent Finetti as well on the same ones. So thank you guys again for your attention and your time. Have a great rest of your boat show.
Thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.